Really, from the way you're talking, it shows how much experience you have, and it shows that you have gotten your hands dirty before a lot of times. Can you tell me a few experiences that you had as a private military contractor?
Not can't diverge the a lot of details about so you have to sign something called the OSA. It's called the I mean Official Secrets Act. But I can talk about some of the interesting projects.
Yeah.
That that are just quite interesting to talk about.
Okay.
Do you know this character from Mahabharata called Barbarik?
I've heard about him, but
Okay.
not exactly.
So, Barbarik was this warrior from South India, and so Krishna actually asked, Arjun, in how many days can he end the war?
Yeah.
He asked Karan how many days can he end the war. He asked Bhishma Pitama how many days can he end the war. Krishna said, I can end the war in 28 days. Karan said, I can end the war in 24 days. Bhishma Pitama said, I can end the war in 20 days. He asked Barbarik, how many days can you end the war? He said, 1 minute. The reason behind that was because Barbarik was given these 3 arrows by Shiva. What these arrows did was, so Barbarik could fire one first arrow, which would identify all the targets that he wanted to kill. Then he'll fire the second arrow, which will identify all the objects that he wanted to save. Then he'll fire the last arrow, which will pierce through all the objects which he wanted to kill and at the same time not even touching the objects which he wanted to save. And that way, he could just fire these 3 arrows, killing everybody he wanted to kill. So first of all, Krishna was very intrigued. He asked Baba, "Do you actually have these weapons? And if you do, give me a demo." So they were standing in front of a huge tree with a lot of leaves, and Arjun was there with Krishna. So Babik says, "I will give you a demo." So he pulls out his first arrow and marks all the leaves on the tree that he wanted to pierce. Shoots the second arrow, marks all the leaves that he wanted to save. Shoots the third arrow, which pierces all the leaves on the tree which has been marked for destruction. Now Krishna, being this very naughty guy, he hid one leaf below his foot, and the last arrow started to hover over Krishna's leg. So Krishna said, "Why is this happening?" So Bauri said, "You have this leaf behind your foot. Take your foot off, otherwise the arrow will pierce that foot also." So Krishna then takes it out and does that job. So now Krishna is very scared. He said, "I can't let this happen because first of all, your algorithm is wrong." Which is, Barbarik has taken a vow that he will always be on the weaker side. So Krishna says, how does that algorithm work? If let's say you think Pandavas are on the weaker side, the moment Kauravas, you kill all the Kauravas, they are on the weaker side, you have to switch side immediately, then you will kill Kauravas. The only person that will be left standing in the battlefield is you, right? So you're not thought through the algorithm. But taking inspiration from this, there's a weapon system that's being developed. So it's not completely, it's not a cyber weapon. It doesn't fall in the category completely of a cyber weapon, but it's an integration of offensive AI tech combined with a piece of hardware. So what happens with this system is, it's a small drone. It's a pocket size drone, which a army man can actually carry in his pocket, and take it wherever he wants to take it with him. That drone has an ordnance. It's an explosive charge that's built, that you can load it into the drone. what that drone does is it uses Python. It uses a Python library called YOLO.
Okay.
YOLO stands for you only look once. So the drone itself has a camera. So what it does is it uses YOLO to identify the image that you show to the drone. Now let's say there's a terrorist in a mall and I want to take that terrorist out. So I can place snipers, but there might be collateral damage, or the terrorist itself will not be there where where the snipers are deployed. But with this, one of the applications that may be possible is you show the picture of the terrace you want to take out to the drone. It translates a 2D image into a 3D image, and it then hunts for that person inside the mall. The moment it finds that guy, based on certain confidence index that you have coded in, what it can do is it can just come right onto the most optimal point on your face and blow itself up, in the process taking down that terrorist, right? So 2-3 things have come together over here. The drone, the hardware itself, but the brains behind that piece of weapon is all technology. So it's your Python code that determines how the drone finds searches for an entity in the crowd. How does it identify? How does it take a decision? If it can't find, then it has to calculate point of return and come back safely. So, and it's extremely inexpensive, right? Drones are these toys that you can buy off the shelf. But these drones are not exactly those drones, but the cost of manufacturing the drone is not that much. And just fitting it with uh, technology which didn't exist few years back, you have just combined, uh, you just transformed, let's say, a toy into this very lethal weapon, exactly like Barbarik. So this drone, it's called Project Barbarik. It does exactly that. It identifies who it wants to take out, identifies who it needs to keep safe, and then when the target is identified, it'll go in and take that target out.
This is a bit like a lethal form of a Raspberry Pi processor.
So it's Arduino, or so Raspberry Pi is a microcontroller you'll use as a when you need to kind of simulate a PC.
Yeah.
Arduinos are things when you want to kind of make movable robots. But same, yeah, exactly the same tech. You have an Arduino motherboard. You apply, you have your regular sensors. You're utilizing computer vision, and you are writing Python programs using the YOLO library. The devices that detect traffic violations on the road is the same tech, but you have overridden. So what does the traffic camera does? It just tries to see if you have crossed the red line or not. If you did, when the right light was red, it'll take a picture of your number plate and send the challan to your home. I will use the same tech, but I'll put it inside the drone, and I'll just override the decision capability. I'll say, you identify this person. Have you identified? He said, yeah, I have identified. So I'll just say, okay, go near the person, calculate an optimal point for when the explosion happened, it needs to cause maximum damage, and blow it up on the face.
There's a lot of if else then logic.
I mean, how you program it is, I mean, yeah, I mean, like functional programming, whatever, one function calling the other function. So most of the features of a programming language you'll use. If else is your one way of doing conditional checks. But it's this is a little bit more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
But all you need to build something like that is call 12th level programming knowledge. That's it. So if you know Python um, just that much, and if you're able to program Arduino boards, just stick it up in a drone, and you have your weapon now ready. Finding the explosive will be the biggest challenge. Don't go out and do that. If you're working with defense forces, they'll give you the ordnance. But yeah, that's how simple it is. Not as straightforward also. I mean, there are many use cases you'll have to figure out. Like for example, this is going to be very effective in urban warfare scenario. There is a group of let's say um hostages, which so people who have been taken hostages inside a home uh, by, let's say, 4 terrorists, right? I can program drones in such a way that these are called drone swarms. I can program 100 drones in such a way that they talk to each other. They form a network among each other, and each drone is recognized as a node in that network. So I can give a command to all my drones at the same time, and they are in like these small briefcases that one can just carry. But I'll just give one single command. I'll tell the drone that go inside that house and identify a person with this characteristic. So there's a silhouette that I will program in. I'll say that a person. I can identify a person carrying a gun from a person who's just sitting on a chair and not or doesn't have a weapon around him. So I can actually program a drone, say get inside the house, identify all people who have guns, and take them out. So there are 4 people. The drones will actually fly off. When they see a window, they can take a decision on their own. So they'll actually form a file on their own and enter one by one. And 4 people they need to take out. They'll decide among themselves. The distribution will happen as to which drone will take out whom, and 25 drones taking out one guy. So all that decision will be taken by the drone swarm all by itself. I will not have to micromanage. All I have given one single command that take this people out. How they do it, it's all up to them. They will figure out a way to do that. If they see a chimney, they will figure out the most efficient path is to go down the chimney. They see a window, they'll figure out the most efficient path is to go down through a window. They can also take decisions of self-sacrifice. So for, let's say, everything is closed, but the drone sees that there's a glass. To break into the glass, I have to sacrifice 4 of my drones. So I identify those drones and tell them, all of us are carrying ordnance. Those drones, please blast off your ordnance, create a space for all of us to move. So you can do all that, and all this is possible after you have done your class 12th and you are good with Python. You are in a position to uh, you know write this kind of code.
And when you talk in that way, you're saying that drones can be used for the military use and all that. Do you think in that way, slowly, military, the amount of muscle power and all that will reduce? You'll just use machines
So
to
it's
do all
already
that.
happened, right? Like what does US use mostly to take out targets is those unmanned aerial vehicles.
Yeah.
And that guy is sitting in one container thousands of miles away, and he's to him it looks like he's playing a video game. And he's taking out targets which are across the globe somewhere else. So the predator drones, that's exactly what you do, right? Here you miniaturize that. That drone costs hundreds and millions of dollars and is as large as the size of a truck. Now you have that power to carry in your pocket. the piece of technology that took man, the first trip to Apollo, the Apollo mission which took man to the moon, right? You have 120 million times that technology in your iPhone right now, which you carry in your phone, right? Uh, with technology, that's always the case. What looked extremely sophisticated and very costly to build, within just a few years, it the economies work very fast when it comes to technology in such a way that the cost goes down drastically, while the power increases. So, uh, if you just know how to, if you're extremely good with Python, if you know how to work with Arduino boards or Raspberry Pi, you can actually pick up a drone from the toy store and make this happen now. And it was not possible maybe 10 years back.
Right.
What is going to be possible after 10 years is like even more, sophisticated. So next, after your juniors will be able to do more stuff that today, as a programmer, you will find it difficult. But that's the growth. That's the curve that technology follows.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot on cyber warfare at a very international perspective, but when we come to a nation's perspective on cyber security, more to that lineage, another big concern is about kids today, right? We were talking about the kids that are interested in this field, but what about those who aren't really interested and don't know that much about this field? Those kids that are prone to having their phones hacked or having private pictures taken, and maybe those who might be able to de-encrypt WhatsApp messages somehow to get private conversations and all that. So all those are underlying problems that take place, and how do we stop that? How do we educate the children? And another huge thing is about cyberbullying, right? We don't give it that much thought because it doesn't happen that often, but when it takes place, it is something that can take huge toll on children. So and schools don't really educate the children on cyberbullying and all that. So how do we move?
So that's the psychological aspect mostly of social media, right? So that requires a different kind. You need to get in experts to figure out uh, how much screen time should a kid have, at what age the kids should get access to phones or social media. You need Now this is a very new problem that didn't exist a decade earlier, but this is the real world which we are living in. So we'll have to figure out a way to train kids to handle this kind of uh, the ecosystem that they're in. This is actually going to become even worse going forward with AR and VR coming in. You have virtual reality headsets that are going to penetrate the market, in this few years. Then we are already talking about Metaverse. So what is going to happen is that you'll just put on your virtual reality headsets and you'll be transported into a very different world. But it's going to be very difficult for you to kind of figure out what is real and what is unreal. You're so immersed in that experience. So, but we'll have to kind of talk to the generation to say that this is the way the world is transforming into. These are the new techs that's coming in, and how to handle cases at that point in time. But this is more got to do with human behavioral processes, and experts will have to be brought in that stage. When it comes to cybersecurity, there are two aspects. So one is, let's say I'm a technical person who's able to hack into your phone through uh, a, writing a piece of code or deciphering encryption or exploiting a zero-day exploit, for example. But that's not the only way to get into your phone. Social engineering is another way. I can just talk to you in such a way that you give your password out to me. But that's also a behavioral aspect of how data can be stolen. All these OTP scams, how do you think it happens? Some scammer will send you a message, a person will receive a call saying, uh, you have won a lottery, and to get that money into your account, share that OTP, right?
Phishing.
Yeah. So you share the OTP, and your money is gone.
Yeah.
He is not a hacker. He has not used any sophisticated piece of. All he's done is social engineering.
Yeah.
He has spoken into you in such a way that he has gained your confidence, and you yourself have revealed your password or OTP to him. So that's this part of cybersecurity comes from, you can counter that through awareness campaigns and through educating the user that fine, as a developer I have some responsibility in securing your system in such a way that I can make your applications uh, safer, but as a user you also have a responsibility, right? So if I am, let's say, a car manufacturer, I have responsibility to make a good car and to make a safe car and to provide you with brakes and horn in case there's an accident scenario that happens. I have some responsibility, and I'll do my best to give you a safe car. But let's say you start using that car to mow down on people, right? Or you are driving recklessly and you are getting into accidents irrespective of all the safety features provided to you. How it work doesn't work that way. Both the manufacturer and the consumer both have to be responsible, and both have to do their jobs equally well. So once you use a product, uh, the manufacturer has to tell you what is the safest way to use the product, and as a consumer you also have some responsibility to ensure that you use the product as it was intended. But yeah.
And so we were talking about data stealing. What about data stealing at a cooperative level, right?
Yeah.
You don't have phishing, but at a cooperative level where
Yeah,
these
there also you have phishing. So a lot of data from corporates actually are victim of phishing attacks. So even very large. So I'll give you a real life example wherein there is this very famous investment insurance company in India, backed by lot of technology and all the things that you can think of. They have all these systems in place. What that insurance company does is it provides you with insurance. That's, for accident claims or health against health claims. One of the guys just so he was making these. So insurance companies usually, or any companies usually, outsource their sales activity. So you'll find people randomly getting 10 calls in a day. Do you want a credit card? Do you want insurance? Right? So one guy who was a part of the sales process just printed out the list of all his uh, contact prospective clients that he was supposed to make a call to, and just threw it in the dustbin before going back home. Somebody from the team just picked that printout, which had over 200 300 names with contact information and other details, and sold it to a scammer. All the scammers did was they start calling everybody saying, "Sir, you have this insurance. Your insurance is going to lapse. I've sent you an OTP to extend the validity period till you pay the remaining amount." And they got some OTPs. Whoever disclosed the OTP, they figured that in next 2 seconds their money is gone. So over here, no sophisticated attack has happened, and this is at the corporate level. And the fraud has happened at a corporate level, at a corporate company. But a lot of these corporates have also lost data because somebody has sent a mail and they have accessed that mail from their corporate email servers, and they have fallen victim to the same kind of phishing attacks.
And so when you're talking about that, about selling the data and all that, one huge thing comes to mind is the dark web, right? Dark web is used for illegal trade and many other things. Do you think the dark web can also be used in a good way for people to?
So dark web. So what is dark web? Dark webs are, let's call them, websites that are not searchable by a search engine crawler. You can make a website which you can provide website with a particular instruction that I should not get indexed by a web crawler. So anybody who tries to index you will not be able to index you. That is one. Then you can make a website in such a way that it can be accessible only with a Tor browser. Tor is the onion ring.
Yeah.
So what Tor browser does is it will take you to your destination by hopping a lot of IPs. So it'll take you to China first. From China, it'll go to Pakistan, Russia, from US. That server, it'll then come to the website. Right. So to access a dark web website, you need a Tor specific website, and also uh, you the reason why you have made a website which is not, and then also you have not given a a name to the website. Your website is only accessible through an IP address. So 152.68.0 something like that, right? Why are you doing this elaborate process? Is only because you don't want to be you don't want uh, anybody to reach you. So if you're making a website like that, uh, that's the dark web. So all those websites, they collectively, we call them the dark net. But why do these website exist? The reason these websites exist is because they're doing something that they shouldn't be supposed to do. They're selling drugs, they are selling arms, or human trafficking is happening through those websites. But that's what the darknet is all about. So if for tomorrow, like uh, you create a website, which is only accessible through an IP address, you have not registered or linked it to a domain name, and you've made a website in such a way that you can't access it through Google Chrome. You have to use different ways. You have to get through it to VPN or whatever. It's a dark net website. To get onto the darknet requires you to be uh, uh, like there's something that's motivating you to get onto the darknet, right? Otherwise, you can't just uh, 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 sometimes, let's say, you can be flashed a site that will intimidate you to come on board, but then you have to kind of literally, let's say, for some reason you are curious and you go on to those website, and then you are hooked, uh, and that but that requires, there is some trigger for you to that you have gone to the website.
As a cyber warfare expert, do you require to get into the dark web once in a while to see
All
those?
the time. So
All
you
the
have to be
time.
there all the time, because that's where the chatter happens. Chatter is these conversations that you need to monitor on a every second basis, because that's where your exploits are discussed and traded. So you have to be on the darknet and all the time. Your forum, you have to be on various forums, because a lot of like groups like ISIS and other terrorist organizations, they recruit from the darknet. Also, a lot of conversations. So these are actually internet where things are happening. You know where to go in, and from one group you get information. But people have also gotten very smart, right? So now what also happens is, let's say you are playing an Xbox game, multiplayer game. That game itself provides you with a chat interface. So if you're a terrorist organization, then very sophisticated ones actually utilize those channels also. Well, they'll get onto a multiplayer game, and they will be utilizing the chat interface of that player game to kind of maintain communication, which is not your. So getting in there is extremely difficult, because I have to get into the community first, gain trust, and then get in. But as a cybersecurity expert or any professional working in this particular field, you have to be very comfortable in living in that environment.
And so you have to always be alert, right, on chatter and all that. Do you do you create a code, let's say, if something exploit or some word comes, you alert me or something like that?
So you heard of this case of an Indian student who was going to UK, and very recently he was flying through Sweden, and he was sitting in the airplane, and he was just joking with his friends on WhatsApp.
Okay.
And he just said, okay guys, my flight is going to take off. As soon as I land, I'm going to join Taliban because I appreciate them a lot. So the plane took off, and in some time there were 2 fighter jets next to his plane. The plane was asked to land. He was arrested at the UK airport. He was questioned by the authorities. He was let go eventually.
Yeah.
But his message got caught at the router level at the Sweden airport by a program. There was no human being looking at those chat. So it caught metadata, right? So the programs were written in a way to intercept every communication that was passing through the airport and raise red flags based on certain keywords. So Taliban was a keyword, bomb was a keyword. He used 2 or 3 of them. Immediately, there are fighter planes in the air. So humans can't, you can't deploy humans all the time. So you write AI programs, which will work on. Try searching for how to make a bomb in US. There'll be FBI in front of your door in 5 minutes. How would they do that? There's a program. They have their system called Prism, or something else. Always monitoring these chatter, but programs are doing that.
And then you were talking about recruitment, like ISIS recruits from the dark web. What about recruitment? Do you ever do recruitment from DEFCONs? DEFCONs is like the IPL of hacking.
Yeah.
So does the government go to these DEFCONs and ever recruit from these things?
So DEFCONs are a very popular way of identifying skill set and recruitment right now. Conventionally, defense authorities use 3 channels, which is a common defense entrance services test. Other is short commission services, and they have something called a UEC, University Entrance Services. So you can actually apply through these 3 channels to be intaken as a technical guy, right? What technical assignment that will be given to you is based on what kind of skill set you have and what kind of interest you show in. But these are direct methods of getting in. But now DEFCONs are very popular channel of identification and hiring. DEFCONs have been very popular in the US all the time. You will find CIA and FBI and all landing up in DEFCONs. Now it has started in India also. So yeah, agencies recruit from DEFCON, but they also recruit from very direct channels. Sainik school, if you are studying in Sainik school, you can apply directly through CES, UES, and short service commissions. You can apply directly also.
And so when you're talking about this, they're all white hat hackers, right? All the people from these DEFCONs. But then what about black hat hackers? So
There's nothing like white hat, black hat hackers. It's all about what are who are you working for and what are you allowed to do,
right.
right? So if I'm working for a company, I'm doing penetration testing, I will have to project myself as a white hat hacker. But I'm doing penetration testing. I'm testing my company application for vulnerabilities. I'm trying to identify them and break them down so that the developers can fix it. A black hat hacker is a guy who's doing the same thing, but he's doing it for his own benefits. That he wants to hack into a system and get data or get money or send OTPs or whatever. The skill set that he has is the same. The moment he is working for a company and is a legitimate role and is getting a salary for it, he's called a white hat hacker because he's not misusing that information. Same skill set, if you start to misuse it for your own benefit, you're called a black hat.
So a black hat hacker, however, will know a lot of the parts of the game, and so like you just said, to catch a criminal, you must think like a criminal, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know about Frank Abagnale,
Yeah.
but he used to produce counterfeit checks back then, and then he started working for the FBI at one
Yeah.
point. So when it comes to this black hat hackers,
Yeah.
do you recruit black hat hackers because they know some paths that a white hat
Yeah.
hacker might not use?
So you always look for skill. So whoever is skillful, I mean, you will want to utilize that skill. And let's say somebody is calling himself a black hat or a white hat or a red hat. If I have the skill, if they have the skill, and they can be used for nation's security, why not? It's all about demonstration of skill. You demonstrate that you have the skill set and you want to serve the nation, then there is a regular process to get in, right? And you have a very reputed job. You're not trying to steal money, or you're not trying to scam somebody using that skill set. Now you can use the same kind of skill set for defending your nation or nation building.
So when we were talking about corporations, about data stealing and all that, and so we have illegal hackers or hackers that do illegal things, and India has got one of the biggest UPI networks, right? And there's a lot of money that's being transacted every day, and obviously there are a huge amount of parameters that are present.
Yes.
And but there are also, like you said, in almost everything there are zero days.
Yes.
So there can be any time where your money can be stolen and all
Yep.
that. So what do you think?
So imagine what's happening right now with UPI. Most of the scam are what scams? Social engineering scams. People are able to get money out of your bank and siphon that off only through phishing attacks. You share OTP and your money is gone. But the incidence of actual a technical brute force attack happening, that is breaking your encryption and digitally moving money, that kind of intellectual attack has not happened yet, because this is always a cat and mouse game between the service providers and the hackers, wherein they'll try to keep breaking in, and you have to keep your systems secure. But that's a skill game. That's a technical skill game. Most of the frauds that you see happen are not committed by technically skilled intellectual hackers. They're committed by people who are able to manipulate your emotions, and it's called social engineering. You voluntarily give out information that is required to get money out of your account. So UPI, that way, it's a extremely sophisticated piece of technology, and very complicated system. But there are so many paths to the component, and each very well secured. But it's not that because till today no such hack has happened that it can't happen tomorrow, right? To break an RSA encryption, you needed quantum computers. They're already there, right? If we don't move our classical encryption to quantum encryption next, all these security systems are null and void immediately. So it can happen any day. But now there's a new variable in the equation. Now we have to think about those also.
So when you're talking about quantum computers and how they are things that can really break encryptions and all that.
Yeah.
Can you explain actually what a quantum computer is, and then we can move forward on.
Okay. So to understand what quantum computer is, let's first understand what a classical computer is. Right? Your classical computer recognizes two states, right? 0 or 1.
Yeah.
So your signal can be either in two states, and you manipulate those two states to kind of get whatever result that you're looking for. So uh, either there's an electrical signal or there is not. So you say this is 1 and this is 0. Everything that I compute is based on those principles. For everything, for me, it's a bit, and collection of bits is a byte, but it's all zeros and ones and zeros and ones. Quantum computer works on a very different principle altogether. So instead of saying that there's an atom in one state or the other state, there are three main concepts of a quantum computer, which is superposition, measurement, and entanglement. These are quantum physics concepts,
Right.
and they are very counterintuitive. You don't see that kind of phenomena happening in the macro world, but those phenomena happen at the quantum world. You understand that, and you are able to then utilize those principles in computing. So computing is always equal to science plus technology. Science gives you the concept, technology gives you the application of those concepts into some product that you make. So quantum computing works in such a way that it works on the spin of a qubit, which can be in millions of states at the same time. So it's very counterintuitive to understand, but once you understand how to manipulate that state, then you are working in the realm of quantum computers. Now, it's not to say that everything that is working on classical computer will move to quantum. What happens is that, so for example, you write an application which is a calculator application. You say, tell me what is 2 plus 2. You just want the output, right? So you just want to know what the answer is. So a classical computer will be able to do that. It'll say 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. What a quantum computer will be able to do is that in a second, it will tell you a million ways of calculating 2 plus 2 in ways that you have never thought about that's possible. Do you need that? You don't need that in your phone, right? You just want to know what is 2 plus 2. So quantum computing has its own areas of application where it is useful, where it is, let's say, DNA analysis, producing vaccinations, which usually used to take, let's say, 10 years or 20 years to run those simulations on classical computers. Quantum computer can do that in a matter of second. But it can also do one more thing, which is it can break your classical encryption in the way uh, so if a classical computer is employed to break a classical encryption, let's say a 1024 bit RS encryption, it would take a classical computer billions of years to crack that code and get those two prime numbers whose product you use to build that encryption. So if somebody tries to break your encryption, the kinds you are using right now, you are still safe because he will get there after 1 billion years. Till that time you are gone and dead. And a quantum computer, just the way it works, it can do that calculation and produce all permutation combinations of and come out with the product of what prime numbers would have been used in a matter of like less than a second. So there's an algorithm in quantum computing called the Shor's algorithm. But, and it already exists. What was preventing quantum computers into breaking into classical encryption was that we needed a certain amount of qubits to get that calculation going on.
Right.
We have reached that state already. So IBM is at 1,100 qubits. China has reached 1,000, beyond 1,000 qubits already. To break a 256-bit encryption, you require 2 into 256 qubits. We are talking about thousands.
Yeah.
We are already there. So fortunately for us, right now, most of the encryption is 1048 or 2048 or 1024. So we do not have that kind of number of qubits at the moment. But the way technology progresses is that, so last year we had 430. From 430 to 1000, there was a time when we had 7 to 200 we took 5 years, 200 to 400 we took 2 years, 400 to 1000 we took 1 year, 1000 to maybe 2000 we could take next 3 months or 1 month or maybe 1 year, you don't know. But when that kind of processing power is available and we are able to manipulate those many qubits, your entire encryption of the world goes for a toss. You'll have to change all your classical encryption to quantum encryption, and but that also has to be done on a war footing, because quantum computers are already enough processing power with quantum to be able to break your classical encryption, 256-bit encryption or whatever. Yeah.
So the way I understand a quantum computer is, it can't do everything a normal computer can, but a normal computer cannot do what a quantum computer.
It can do everything a normal computer can, but it's waste of resources. Like for example, you'll want a quantum computer when you want to, let's say, calculate millions of possibilities or compute many combination permutation of millions of simulations at the same time. Quantum is extremely good for that. So one of the application for that use case is actually trying to uh, get to those two prime number factors which a classical computer has used for forming that encryption. So it can do that job extremely well. No matter what kind of powerful encryption you throw, a classical encryption, quantum computers are already poised to break that in a matter of seconds. But what a quantum computer can also do is, let's say, the same thing. Let's give you answer for 2 plus 2. You don't require a quantum computer with that kind of processing knowledge, capability, to be able to make a calculator app. So people say that, for example, you will have a day when so the most powerful computer that you carry is your phone. As I said, it already had 120 million times the capability what took you to moon, right? Everybody carries that kind of capability in their pockets. There will come a time where your hardware will have capability where you quantum your phone could be running on a quantum hardware, or maybe your watch is. But I mean, you will not want to run simulations of how to create the next COVID vaccine you on your phone, but you will have that kind of processing power. But one of the use case, immediate threat, uh, because of a particular use case, is that quantum computers can break RSA encryption. RSA encryption is the encryption the entire world works on. If it is able to break that RSA encryption, then your world collapses in a matter of seconds.
So it must concern you that maybe other countries might be developing quantum
It's already
computers.
there. Like, a few years back, China teleported a photon from a lab in China to the International Space Station.
Oh wow.
So that has already happened, right? Uh, uh, Countries that are working on quantum computers, the first thing that they will do, any technology that can be weaponized is always weaponized. But with quantum computers, the threat is that when any country is able to break all the encryption, you will not know for many years after it has happened. Because let's say China is able to break all our encryption, right? Why will they tell you? They will break, they will snoop on every system and every application out there and use it to their advantage. Till a counter force figures out that oh, I can also do that. Then you'll know that okay, uh, this encryption has been broken. But you can't wait for that time to come. What you need to do immediately is that you have to replace, you have to start replacing all your classical encryption now, right now, with quantum key distribution, without waiting for such a time to come. Apple has done that with its iMessage.
Okay.
It has now started using quantum encryption. So that's one of the first application that already uses quantum encryption to encrypt its messages. But everything has to go down that path. Otherwise, all encryption is gone.
So we've been talking about a lot of things that are happening at the present. We've talked about Stuxnet that has already taken place, quantum computers that are being built, about encryption, and but what do you think about the future of technology, the future of cyber warfare? Where do you see it in maybe 100 years or 500 years?
Uh, it is all so advancement in technology. Like first of all, we have to figure out the AI control problem, right? We have that staring right at our face. How do you regulate AI? On top of that, you have quantum. We are reaching a phase where uh, you to create a new cyber weapon, you might just need to give a prompt to a LLM model, and it will just type out the entire piece of code to you, saying this is the new exploit I found. uh, I gathered that information, either I penetrated, tested it, or I figured it out from some chatter on the dark room, and here's a new cyber weapon which never existed, right? You we are already, we are very close to that. Execution of that, uh, a quantum computer will make it possible. So now quantum computers will be accessible to you through a interface like IBM Q Experience gives you access to its quantum computer through a website. So you sign up for an account, and there's a subscription model, and you can execute your quantum program on IBM and get the results delivered to you. But the way quantum computing itself is progressing, these are technologies that, like every technology which is very unique, at some point in time becomes commodity in a few decades. So we are headed in that path where we first of all don't know, uh, you know so AI is progressing at a breakneck speed. what's that going to lead to? We have to figure out something called as a control problem of AI. Is how do we regulate AI so that we don't self-destruct, we don't create a technology that destroys us. On top of that, uh, uh, you are placing that tech on top of a quantum computer. The combination is extremely lethal, right? So yeah,
Yes, so when you're talking about how AI can it's lethal. I mean, if it keeps developing in this linear motion,
yeah.
at one point it will affect humanity. So do you imagine a treaty being made just for AI, just for the reduction of the development of AI?
How so it won't work, right? Because what? How do you? So it's very difficult to stop the pace of technology. When a piece of technology crosses the inflection point, there's there's nothing much that you can do about it. So there's a very interesting story. It's called the unfinished fable of the sparrows. Uh, the story goes like this: there's a community of sparrows. Okay, they are always under attack by bigger birds, and the community has to do everything to feed its uh, uh, children also. To they have to look after their own community, build their own nests, right? So but they're living, they've been living like this for generation. Some day a few sparrows come with a brilliant idea. They say, why don't we do one thing? We have seen owl eggs, right? In a certain part of the forest. We will go there, we'll steal some owl eggs, we'll bring those owl eggs, and we will warm them up, take care of them, and we'll make them hatch. When the owl eggs hatch, the owls which come out, they will think they are a part of us, and we'll make them do all the job that we don't want to do. They'll do the heavy lifting. They will build our nest. They will provide us with security. We will send them to get food for us. Okay. There's one old cranky guy. He says, please don't do that. First, figure out how will you control those owls the day they realize that they are more powerful than you.
Yeah.
Figure out the control problem, and then get those owls into the community. But by this time, the entire community is so excited with the idea that they disregard this old wise cranky guy. They all go and get lot of these owl eggs into the community. So it's called the unfinished fable of the sparrows, because that's what happens next is unknown. We don't know what happened next. So we are in the same era right now with AI. We are we are collectively building AI and we don't realize it, right? Uh, and you can talk about regulation and all, but let's say US comes and tells me, India, please regulate your AI development. Why will I do it? I need it for my country. A lot of entrepreneurs are building companies and sophisticated tech with AIs. How will I stop? Why will I regulate their growth and their development? Why am I going to listen to the US? Or I come and go to US and say, uh, please regulate AI. Why are they going to listen? Elon Musk and Sam Altman are going all over the world conducting conferences saying regulate AI.
Yeah.
They conduct that conference, go back home, and contribute to the development of AI. And Elon Musk is making Grok, and he's putting AI everywhere. Sam Altman is doing the same thing. OpenAI and Microsoft 2 days back announced the biggest technology project in the world. They're investing $100 billion in something called as Stargate. So the most powerful supercomputer in the world, which will use AI and quantum. So the same guys who are talking about regulation, are they regulating themselves? They are not, right? So it's not going to happen. Any kind of piece of paper you put down saying regulate is not going to happen. We collectively contribute to AI. We don't know about it. You order food from Swiggy, you're contributing metadata. You open a banking application, you're contributing metadata. You use social media, you contributing metadata back to the servers. It's processed by some algorithm, which is using collective intelligence algorithms to kind of learn. Machine learning is happening. You yourself as a consumer is programming AI and contributing to AI. So it's not gonna get regulated. There's absolutely no way also on in which this can be enforced. So it's a very difficult problem to solve.
So you're saying it'll end up like how Stuxnet found its way back to USA somehow.
Yeah.
So AI will also like.
Yeah. So we'll have to get clever, and we have to, as I said, it's always a cat and mouse game. We have to keep fighting to be ahead of the game. So, for example, rather than wait for Shaw's algorithm to already break encryption, let's not wait for that day to come. Let's employ quantum key distribution and change our algorithms to quantum algorithms, right? Let's do that beforehand rather than waiting for the government to kind of enforce that. And all the companies who have the resources, have the money and the know-how, let's start now itself. So same thing goes for other piece of tech also. So you need to already start doing it.
Oh, really beautifully explained. Got to learn a lot. But I mean, you have so much knowledge on this topic. It gets me wondering, do you sometimes feel like you're cursed with this knowledge? I mean, you're like, Swiggy can you can use my data and all that. Do you feel cursed? I shouldn't know this much.
I have a lot of fun. I know how to get off the grid.
Yeah.
So when the world goes for a toss, I'll be gone.
Yeah. No, beautifully explained. Really, thank you for the session.
It was lovely having this conversation with you.
Yes. Do you think we might have missed something? Do you want to say something in extra?
No, I'm just one thing for the kids who are looking to kind of who have interest with cybersecurity, or cyber warfare kind of area. Uh, they have a lot of venues now to explore the field and to develop skill in that area, and to get into this field as a career choice. And also, it's just a very fun place to be. So I would you know just urge the kids that when you pick up a piece of hardware, let's say your phone, or when you're in front of your computer, you're looking at your Instagram page or you're looking at your Facebook page, just stop at some point and just uh, don't always be a consumer. Think about, how was this piece of technology made? How does it work? What goes into making this magic happen that I see on the screen right now? Or these days I take it for granted. And if it sparks any interest in you into tinkering with the system and opening it up and try to just take a peek inside as to how this entire thing works, then dive in, explore further, and try to figure it out. A mechanic is always a better rider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so just don't ride the bike. I mean, open it up and try to figure out how it works as well. In my time, this was extremely difficult to do. If I wanted to kind of get my hands in with this kind of knowledge, it was extremely difficult. Moreover, it was very difficult to make a career out of it. It's not so at this moment. This is a very exciting time, and it's a very great place to be in if you want to get into the field of cybersecurity and cyber warfare.
The thing is, your generation or your time, not much was there.
Yeah.
Today, there's too much.
Yeah.
There's too much. So you don't know which source to go
Yeah.
to. So can you tell me a few sources?
So hang on to one and stick to it. Like, other doors will open up automatically. So let's say we have been talking about Python,
Python.
A lot. Programming language per se, as I said, doesn't really matter as long as you say that I'm ready to give my focus time to this piece of tech for some time. You dive into programming and you keep on experimenting and you keep on doing that no matter which programming language. You have at least started your journey in the right direction. uh, Once you're in, you'll know exactly what follows next, because to be able to kind of tinker more or to able to dive in, you will know at that point of time what tool I require, where am I stuck, and where to find more resources. The first step is just dive in, pick something, and take a plunge. It's a leap of faith. So
Yes.
choose one thing and just dive in. Don't think too much when you're starting up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Beautifully explained. I think people will be able to use this as a starting point to their career in cybersecurity or cyber warfare. Thank you very much. This will be great inspiration to a lot
Thank
of
you
kids.
a lot. This was really fun, talking to you.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
Thanks. Namaste.